What's up, horror people, horror family? I'm here to talk to you about another scary movie in my series of horror reviews and movies I've been watching over the coronavirus break. And ever since, I guess I've been doing some of these ever since we broke for spring break. So try and see one every week if it's possible. And so last week I watched a movie that's available on Hulu. I'm trying to do a lot with Hulu. I sort of zoomed through a lot of the Netflix stuff, and then Shudder is always great, but I do feel like I've seen a lot. I don't know if you do this either, but like I'll get together with my friend and we'll sort of watch trailers, and there are definitely some ones on Shudder that I've been meaning to get to, but for whatever reason you're like, I'm not really in the mood to watch a 3 hour horror movie on, Korean horror movie on whatever, ghosts. Let's do this really quick one, or I just heard about this and I want to watch this instead. So I've got sort of an extensive list of things on both Shudder, not so much Netflix, but Netflix disc, because I'm ancient and one of the people that still subscribes to Netflix discs. So I've also been seeing some of the newer ones. I just got in the mail that new Turn of the Screw reboot with the dude from Stranger Things. It looks awful. And I think I talked to you about Brahms. So anyway, the movie I want to tell you about, actually, so spoiler alert, or let me just get this out of the way. This movie is, I think, probably one of my favorite horror movies of the last 15 years. Certainly Insidious maybe was the last time that I felt really good about a movie like this in this way. And unlike Insidious, it actually doesn't have a dog shit ending that makes everything else that happened invalid. The movie's called Ghost Stories. It's on Hulu. I think it was 2016 or 2018. It's got Martin Freeman in it, that dude from The Hobbit and from Sherlock, and from a million other things. Fargo, was he in Fargo? He's just so good. He's such a great actor. I think you could call it, it's really clever, and I don't want to give a whole lot away, but I think you could almost call it an anthology movie because it certainly sets itself up like that, like a VHS or a what are some other anthology movies? Halloween stories. And the framing device, not giving anything away, is you've got this professor. I really love movies where people are playing professors because they really have no fucking idea what we do or who we are. So it's always fun to watch that. But a professor who is kind of like in the movie The Reaping, someone that's debunking paranormal stuff like Hilary Swank was doing. A moment of silence for Hilary Swank's career. And so he's got this mentor that he's really into who did that before he did it. And this mentor invites him over one day and is like, listen, I've become a believer. I've spent my whole life not believing and debunking these things. And there were 3 cases that I could never solve. And so you look at them and you tell me if you can solve them. And anyway, so that's kind of the anthology series. So he goes to visit these 3 different people that have different experiences with the supernatural. They tell him their stories. And in the telling of the stories, it flashes back so you get to experience it. They're all paranormal based. So the first one's kind of a ghost story. The second one's sort of a demon story. And then the third one is, poltergeisty, malevolent spirit kind of story. And so they all tell their stories, and he tries to debunk them. And first of all, let me just say, the stories are really great, and they're scary as fuck. I watched this with my friend Miranda, who's unflappable usually with horror movies, and the blood-curdling screams that she let out, I think we topped off at 3 while Jeff was doing Zoom work, talking to his people in the field, screaming coming from the back room. So the stories are really scary. They're really well done. They're thoughtful. They're not just jump scares, stupid things. They're really intense, and that's sort of checking my boxes because I love stories about ghosts, and especially stories about the paranormal where they trust you with that. So that's all to say, that's 78% of the movie. But there's an extra 12% of the movie that is the ending of it, which is really clever and doesn't get ahead of itself. The way the ending could have gone, it could have made the movie a disaster. And what it did instead was turn it into a different kind of horror movie. And I love that. I love when a horror movie says, you were thinking we were this all along, and here in the last 10 minutes, we're actually this kind of. Jennifer's Body does this really good, actually, with the credits, where you think, oh, this is this kind of monster movie, and then it turns out to be a rape revenge movie at the end. So I like when they do that, and when they do that in a very smart, reflexive way, it's even better. And this movie does that. The acting is phenomenal. I think the person that directed it and wrote it also stars in it. Martin Freeman is an international treasure. It's scary. It stays with you. It's haunting. It's something that you're going to be thinking about a lot. And it says things, reason we all love horror, right, is that it says things beyond just why horror is scary, why it causes anxiety, and it has a lot of larger themes and issues that it deals with that are really, really interesting. So that's my review. Please go check it out. If you like scary, if you're listening to this, you like scary stuff. It's truly one of the great horror movies that I've seen, in the last 15 years. And I guarantee you, if you like ghost stories, if you like being scared, if you like thinking about all these things, it's really fantastic. I think you're gonna dig it. Miss you guys so much. Love you. Sending you love and light every single day. And I'll see you again soon. Stay scary.